You know, sometimes it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, cause so many things that go against us. But it's something inside our spirit that just keep us marching forward. We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright.
What's up, my boy?
Good, bro. How you been?
living?
Chilling, man.
Out here in the A.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What brought you back home?
Just break, bro. I come home maybe once or twice, 2 times a year. So just honestly, just time is also a situation for me where I kind of just lock in. You know, being in New York, just busy. You know, just back and forth between grad school, working, trading, just doing a lot. So Atlanta's my time to kind of just recoup, relax, chill, see my siblings.
Look like you've been working though.
Yeah, bro. Hustling, man. The grind don't stop, man. Literally just, I always tell people also all the time, you'll be surprised how fast your life happens in a year. And I remember the start of this year, 2022, I had goals written down and I accomplished a lot of those goals in Q2, Q3. You know what I'm saying? I just think this year for me, it just moved so fast. I met so many people. I networked, I grew my brand. So it's I'm wow, all right, cool. Let me take a step back. Let me relax. Let me chill out. Let me just really have some time for myself. Cause you know how it is. We always hustling, just busy, never really taking time just to reflect. And that's very, very important, you know, just for your growth. So it's been cool, man.
That's a lot of what I wanted to talk to you about today. Cause even when we first met, you was a freshman, you still had that same job. And honestly, we're gonna touch on this a little later, but I was so amazed at how you came into college as a freshman and y'all really just hit the ground running at a university of 40,000 students.
Yeah. And
you hundreds of miles away from home, but you really came to Philly and you treated it like it was your city. Where does that come from, bro?
Bro, it's crazy. If you know, shout out 3AG, if you know, you know. That was our little group. So it's crazy how things work. So we had a group in Atlanta before the whole permanent thing happened. So back home in Atlanta, you know, it was we all play football, right? So we went to a school called Woodward Academy. Okay. So that's what some of my friends went to, and then we went to Whitfield Academy, 2 of the same schools, not same schools, but similar schools. Let me say that. So we all just played football. So it was me. It was so we had 3 Jordans. So it was myself as Jordan. I got a friend named Jordan Greer, another friend named Jordan Edge. So we used to go by last name. So I was Saibu, my friend was Edge, my other friend was Greer. So us 3, my guy Johnny, my guy TJ, my guy Cameron. So that was our main group. Right. And we went to a private school. So we was the only, for the most part, black kids at that type of situation. So we kind of had to stick together. But so Johnny, he went to play for Georgia Tech. Big. TJ went to Kentucky. He plays in the NFL right now for the Rams. Wow. So we was nice. We was nice for I was even nice. I was really nice myself. I just was height wise and frame wise. I didn't just have that oomph. Yeah. But long story short, I played cornerback. Okay. Cornerback. So long story short, nice? I was nice, bro. I had mad D2 offers. I had mad D2 offers. I'll get into that. But that's even how Temple even became a thing. My running back coach was a running back at Temple. So that's when everyone says yo, why'd you go to Temple? Was Temple was my biggest opportunity. I didn't want to what happens at my high school was we would bring a lot of our previous athletes from every D1 to D2, and all of the D2, D3 athletes that came back to my high school, that went to my high school, that when they talked about their experience, they always kind of just it was cool. They always had it was cool.
But it wasn't
it wasn't that. Yeah. And my whole thing was all right, cool. I knew that for myself, I wanted a little bit more than just football. I wanted that. So I was okay. And that's really a story of my life. And kind of we'll get into that, how everything transpired. But I wasn't a risk taker. I was cool, betting on myself and not playing it safe. And when I was in high school, I was all right, cool. I could go a safe route and get a full-time ride at a D2 school and, be okay. Right. But then in the back of my mind, I always would have had a thought of what could have been. Right. So I took that chance, try to go D1, because I was a preferred walk-on at Temple. I didn't get a full ride. Yeah, I was a preferred walk-on at Temple. I didn't get a full ride. So I went to hold the camp situation. Long story short, it didn't work out. But just to circle back to high school, bro, we had mad motion, bro. We was, throwing parties. So, yeah, fun fact. So at this, where we sitting right here, so this is my house for forever. So I used to have friends over and, it was just on some guy stuff. We were just chilling. And my dad came downstairs and he was like, yo, it ain't no girls here. We was what, sophomore, juniors in high school. We what? What you trying to say? You trying to threaten us? You trying to say we don't get no girls? Ain't no girls, it's all dudes. I'm all right, bet, say no more. So I never forget, it was New Year's Eve. And we was planning for a New Year's party. And we just started having this little group called 3AG. I don't know where that name even came from. Right. But that was our group, man. That was our sign and stuff like that. So we were sending texts out and blah, blah, blah. Yo, pull up to our crib on New Year's, pull up to our crib. So my dad and my stepmom, they always go to church, right? There's always been like a tradition that they always do. So I told my dad, I'm like, yo, I'm about to have a party. He's like, how many people? And I generally didn't know. I was like, probably like 15, 20, nothing crazy, something calm. He's like, all right, cool. Like, just don't get too crazy. I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. So like, my dad and them probably left once around like 11:30 to go to church. So I told people to pull up at like 10. I lie to you not. From like 10 to 11:30, it was like no one there. But like just me and my guy friends. So I'm thinking it's about to be the same situation again. There's no girls. We texting the girls. They're like, what y'all doing? They're like, yeah, we coming, but we don't know if girls is playing. We like, all right, cool. My dad and them leave, man, and I never forget, I take a shower. So I'm like, yo, if people come to the door, just get the door from. So I come out the shower. I only heard the doorbell ring like one time. Swear to God. So I come downstairs. It was like 2 girls. It was chilling, but it was like 2 girls, like 8 guys.
Right.
So I'm like, oh wow, like, all right, maybe we don't got it. I lie to you not, bro. 30 minutes later, it was like 7 Ubers at one time. Pulled up. 5, 6 people get out in the car. My house went from having 8 people to like 20, it was 100 people. Everyone was packed downstairs. Down here, upstairs, everything. It was
crazy.
Full-fledged party. People were coming in and out. People at this point that I did not know.
Yeah.
It was like grown men in my house.
So
I'm
like,
like,
this real quick. I don't want to interrupt you,
no, go
but
ahead.
like, do you feel like the party landscape changed from that time when we was young boys to like now?
Yeah, I would say like, I'll probably say just evolved. You know what I'm saying? I think like, when I was in high school, it was just trying to have fun. You know what I'm saying? But more so on a clout basis, like that whole even money aspect. I wasn't even thinking like that. It was just like, it really came from my dad, like trying to play with us in Philly. So we did that. And like I said, I had 200 people in my house. And I remember like, oh my God, my dad's gonna kill me.
What happened when he got back?
So this is what happened. So I knew like, I'm like, it's getting out of hand. It was like, it was all this crazy stuff in my crib. So I'm like, all right, I was trying to hide stuff. As soon as I would hide one thing, another thing would come. I'm like,
it's
Lord.
hard to stop. It's too many people.
Too many people, and people just kept coming. So I remember I had to lock the door. I had to lock my front door. Every time I lock my front door, someone would come and open it. So I'm like, you know what? It's getting out of hand. So what I did, so my dad was gonna come through the garage.
Right.
So I was like, all right, it's gonna be I told all my friends, like, all right. When I hear that garage open, we just gonna tell everyone just get out, and because back here's our backyard, so just tell people just kind of hang out back there, because my dad wouldn't come downstairs and he would just kind of be upstairs chilling and go upstairs to his room. So that was a plan. So I remember I locked my garage door just so I can like brief people on what the plan was, and I remember like I had went upstairs right quick, and I just heard, oh snap. I'm like, and it was like radio silent. I'm like, oh my God. I heard, Jordan! Like, I'll go downstairs, bro. My dad was like, he had a fit. It was crazy. And it was like, so he kicked everyone out. So people was leaving, Everybody was like, yo, this party was lit. Yeah. So I was fake like, oh, all right, I was valid. But I was cool.
Got in trouble.
My dad, I had to clean the whole house. Yo, it was messes everywhere. I was grounded for like 2-3 weeks. But from there.
Did y'all charge?
No, it was free. We wasn't even on that time. Okay. But from there, that day,
it sparked it.
We were stamped. Like after I got, I was grounded for like a month. After that, when we was going outside everywhere, it was like, oh, like that's the group 3. So we was going all in the city. So yeah, that's kind of like where it happened. And so, like I said, going to Temple, I was like, you know what, like I don't want to go to these schools. I was being honest, like I want to go to school where I just want to have fun too. Right. I wanted the balance of work, but also having a good time. And I was like, yeah, all right. I heard about Temple. I did the whole thing. Students do. You look up the most lit schools. And Temple was like top 15.
Word.
Yeah, Temple was up there. I'm like, oh, I ain't valid.
You know what's crazy, bro? Like growing up in Philly, like a lot of us want to go like elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because like you see how Temple is, bro. It's right there, smack in the middle of North Philly. So like that area is like. I don't want to talk down on my city, but we all know what it's like.
That's how it was for me, because like I could have went to Tech, I could have went to State, I could have went to Morehouse. You feel me? But I grew up in Atlanta,
right?
So my mom's an AKA at Spelman, and my uncle was an Alpha at Morehouse. So
like
legacy. So even growing up, I was always around like that Greek life, always around them schools. Like, I went to summer camp at Clark, Atlanta, which is right by Spelman and Morehouse. So I was already kind of experienced in that Atlanta feel, and everyone that I knew in Atlanta was either staying in Atlanta or going to Howard. That was like my friend group. It was stay here in Atlanta or go to Howard. That was it. So I was like, just like you said, I kind of just wanted something different. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, I've been in Atlanta for 17 years. Like, let me just see something different. So that's how Philly really came into play. And so what happened was, like I said, so I played lacrosse in high school. in my senior year, we was like leading up to like the semifinals, about to go into the state championship. We had to win one more game, and we had lost. But anyways, I had tore my meniscus. That season, but it was like a tear where like I was just going to like physical therapy like every single day, and they gave me like a brace, and I was just playing on it. And, you know what I'm saying? I was still like, I was a D mid, so I was athletic enough to like kind of like figure out how to play without really doing too much. But I never gave my chance time to heal. So lacrosse in the spring, so we were good. So we didn't end until like end of May.
Got it.
So right in that early June, our season was done, but I wasn't done. Like literally right back then, it was back to football. So I think we had to come in like early in July, and I ended up coming like I would say like towards the end of June, just trying to get acclimated, so like that. I was staying actually with my cousin, and long story short, like during camp, like I never was doing one-on-ones, and like I was also your cornerback, and I remember I just like hit like planting my knee. And like I literally heard the thing go like tear. I literally heard it. I just couldn't walk no more. I literally couldn't walk. And pretty much, and I knew what it was because I was already hurt from high school. And the doctor was like, "Yo, you have two options. Either you can could get surgery and you'll be out for a year, or you can try like rehab, but you're still gonna be out for a year."
Meniscus again, or
was the meniscus? It was a meniscus. It was the only meniscus. But
I tore my ACL and my meniscus, and I knew instantly, even though I never had knee problems. It just, I knew it.
You could feel it. You feel it.
It's like, yo, this.
And that was just so much pain. Like I couldn't. I never forget. Like I used to literally just be sitting down like this and just having just an intense knee pain, and I couldn't walk.
And it like it
swelled up
so fast. That's
bro, my knee was like this.
I was like, I'm done, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, how was your mental? Because that was one of the hardest injuries I ever had. That was the worst thing. One of the worst things I ever went through in my life, bro.
I would agree with you. For me, it was dark. My senior year, towards my beginning of my freshman year of college, was dark only because like being an athlete was my identity. I didn't know anything else. Like all my other friends, like my best friend, other Jordan, he went to play at Butler University. My other friend went to play for Jordan Southern. Johnny went to play for Tech. TJ went to play for Kentucky. My other friend Cameron went to LSU. So everyone in our friend group was playing football somewhere. And that's what we was talking about. So then now I'm at Temple, but I'm hurt. And again, I didn't have an offer. I was a preferred walk-on. So I still had to earn a spot. So when that happened, and it was like, I think for me too, it was when I went to Temple and I saw like who I was competing with, I just being honest with myself, I'm like, listen, I'm not like, it's going to be hard for me to really even get that chance because everyone's just, I was good, but everyone was
my size, bro.
Everyone was just as good as me, but your size. So it's like, I had to really be real. So when the doctor came and gave me that ultimatum, I was like, I'll never forget, I was just like, you know what? I'm taking a chance on myself. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna become a regular student. And that was honestly, I mean, the birth of me.
NARP, as they said too.
Yeah.
For y'all watching, if y'all know what a NARP is, that's a non-athletic regular person.
And if you go to Temple, you know how much weight athletes have at Temple.
My God. They say, at Temple, like, when you see the red Under Armour sneaks and the red book bag.
No funny, like that's really how it be. That's really how it be. And the crazy thing was too, I was even more sick because again, I was only honestly an athlete in the summertime, so like no one on campus even got to recognize me as an athlete. By the time I was on campus, like when students came, I was a student.
You as a party promoter,
I was a student. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like no one. I tell people it's like. That's why I don't even talk about football that no more because I really didn't even have a stint. People like, wait, you was like, I'm like, yeah, I was like.
This is news to me, bro. This is not how I thought we was gonna start the episode.
That's how it was, bro. So yeah, and I remember just like I just became a regular student. So fast forward, the school year starts and Juice and Dave, right? Those, if you know, you know.
Before we
go there,
I'm I got some stuff to say.
All right,
that.
facts.
Well, first and foremost, bro, like this is gonna be my first episode of the new year, so I want to say Happy New Year.
Facts, man. Appreciate you, seriously.
And I guess you got any like goals or resolutions going into the new year?
Yeah, I think the number one goal I would say to everyone listening, for myself, and I would just urge you guys is do not be scared to do what's best for you. I think for a long time, you know, especially the last couple of years, like, you know, I was scared to do certain things because of what other people may think of me. And, you know, obviously from an outside looking in, people could be like, oh, you're still like kind of successful. But I've held myself back just off a thought of what he may say or what she may say. So a lot of my New Year's resolution was being okay with what I have to do for myself. Self-love is very, very key. And it's going to honestly kind of be like the epitome of kind of that next step up. And the reality is like, I had to learn this, is not everyone's gonna come to the top. You know what I'm saying? You can't force someone to want something for themselves. And I think for me, this year was like a really like testament to that, is from family, friends, is like, you can want someone to be something for themselves, but they don't want it for themselves. It's only so much you can do. So I think just going into the new year, just being okay with, I can't help everybody.
Right.
I could do my part, but I can't help everybody. And then again, the first part, which is being okay with doing what's best for yourself. So that's my New Year's resolution for myself. Aside of that, in terms of goals, honestly, like, I'm gonna be blunt. I think when it comes to New Year goals, it's great to have goals, but I think like your New Year goals can't start in January.
That's deep.
And I feel like that's like kind of how society plays. It's like, oh yeah, New Year's resolution.
January 1st is a restart.
It's like a lot of my 2023 goals were goals from 2022 and like
Building upon them.
August, September. Like my goals were come out with a mentorship, come out with courses, like, but these are goals that I had since 2022. It just like, I just gradually been working towards them. So I tell people was like, have goals, but just, I think people get so caught up in the idea of January 1st, new year, new me. And then what happens is like 3 weeks into January, you go right back to being your old self.
Yep.
So.
Because it wasn't really intentional about making a change in the first place. But
Exactly.
if I had to say like my resolution for this year, bro, I think 2022 for me was a lot of what you just shared about like the self-love aspect. Of,
Yeah.
like, even like getting out there with my podcast, like that idea was set in motion. I had the thought years ago.
Right.
But I would be scared to like talk on
Take a
camera,
chance,
be
yeah.
an influencer, be a content creator. Like I thought, you know how Philly is, bro.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, they gonna think I'm corny. They gonna think this.
No,
I'm
facts.
just like, the longer I sit and worry about what people think about me, it's gonna hold me back from chasing my dreams. So I think 22 was that, and I think going into 2023, I really want to focus on just like more understanding between like people, like whether it's family, friends, strangers. One of my OGs, he told me, he said, with understanding brings respect, and with respect brings loyalty.
Oh yeah.
And I never thought about understanding, loyalty, or respect like that, because a person can't respect you until they understand your values, your principles, your ethics, what you want to live by.
Right.
And once they understand that and they respect that, that will then give somebody the ammunition to be loyal to you, because they can believe in you as a leader. So I think for me, I just want to get on a better accord with like people in my life, strangers, anybody. Like, I think from Philly, it's a tough city, bro. So like,
It's definitely.
you're real aggressive and you
Definitely.
like carry this certain energy, and it's just like, I'm just trying to shake all of that stuff off to go to like the next heights
level
in my life. So in terms of goals, just like you, bro, I just want to keep building upon the foundation that I laid in this past year. So like, one of my goals for this year was to not only launch my podcast and to start getting paid from social media. I did that.
That's
I
fire.
Get paid from Instagram.
That's
now.
fire. That's
And
fire.
now I want to monetize my YouTube channel. You know how hard that is to do, bro.
Yeah,
But
man.
That's gonna be a lofty goal, but I really just want to keep building upon what I already have been doing. Like you said, bro. So
No, that's fire. I mean, I think the biggest thing too is just being intentional. I think just as you continue to grow, and that's for everyone else watching, it's like the more intentional you are about your goals, like that is gonna how you're gonna be able to achieve them. So it's like, all right, I have this goal, but now is how can I have plans in place to actually attain that goal, right? I know we hear the concept SMART, right? But it's very, very important. So I mean, yeah, man, like.
And this guy, yo, like this is not somebody that's just talking. He's younger than me, but I actually have like a lot of respect for you, bro. Just
I appreciate that, yeah.
Just seeing like how you moved, like since I knew you, and it was kind of like this. At first, I thought it was like arrogance. Like I used to look at y'all got on campus, like you, Bullet Twins. I'm like, yo, these young boys really came on campus and they just took this joint over like quick. And you mentioned Juice and Dave. Those is my guys. So I was in the Temple when I got there.
Shout out to Juice and Dave, man.
Shout out to Juice and Dave, man.
OGs.
They was like,
if you know, you know.
Juice and Dave was like the OGs.
They were the epitome of Temple.
Anything moves related to Temple, Black Temple, White Temple,
anything Temple.
Those was your go-to. So I got plugged in with them real. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I never paid for a party.
Word.
At my whole time.
That's love.
That's
love. That's love.
But those two guys, they was like the landscape. And when y'all came on campus, I ain't gonna lie, it was really like it was a shift on campus. Like people
Yeah.
had to make decisions.
Decisions
like,
on.
It's Thursday night. Am I going to a Bullet Twins and Jordan party, or am I going to Juice and Dave?
Yeah.
And then I think at some point y'all unified. At some point y'all brought it together, but initially it was definitely some energy. Did y'all feel that on campus?
Yeah. So just for everyone too to hear the story, so I never forget it. So I paid for. So unlike him, I paid for parties at first. So I mean, my first probably 2-3 weeks of parties, man, I was paying $40 Friday night and Saturday night.
Yeah.
So I was, do the math, like I was cashing out. So I'm like, yo, and then you pay for the party, but then you get to the party and the lines around the corner. Yep. I'm like, oh my. So now you wait an hour to get in. Now you gotta pay another $20 to skip the line. And then if you want to get a drink, so this is just general admission. We're freshmen, not even talking about like anything special. We just talking about
they used to be trying to
tax. So I'll never forget. So Juice's name on Twitter at the time was called Cassius Clay. If you know, you know. So
I remember that.
You remember that? So I remember like I went on Twitter and I just followed him because my people used to tell me like just turn your post notifications on because you have like flash sales, whatever. Because I was like, yo, I can't. I'm literally about to go broke.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget Juice. Shout out to Juice. He posted on Twitter. He goes, "Does anyone live in Johnston and Harvard?" I'll never forget it.
J&H.
J&H.
Classic. Legendary.
I DM him. He posted that. In a minute, I DM him like, "Yo, me, bro. Like, what's good?" He goes, "Yo, you live?" He's like, "Which one?" I live in Harvard. You know what I'm saying? I live in Harvard. He's like, "Yo, if I gave you 1,000 flyers, you pass them out." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, if you do that, I'll let you in like a +2 or 3 in that for free." I got you.
Damn, this is awesome.
1,000 flyers. No lie. I went from the first floor of Hardwick to the 12th floor. Every single room on Hardwick, and then I went over to Johnson and got them flyers. And I took videos of it. And at that point, what happened was I wouldn't even just slide them under your door. I was generally doing is I would knock on your door. And if you didn't answer, I would slide it. But if you answered, I would like open up the door. You open the door, I'd be like, yo, it's a party. So what happened was people were starting to recognize my face. So they're like, oh, this is your.
They start associating you with the party.
So they be like, oh, this is your party. Because what happens as a freshman, they don't know who's who.
Right.
So Johnson and Hardwick, that's a freshman dorm.
Right.
So they just see me with flyers in my hand talking about, yo, come out this Friday night.
Right.
So they was associating me with the party. So they're like, oh, what's your social media?
Crazy.
I'm like, oh, my Instagram is this. So it's crazy. And I had no, and at this point in time.
That's crazy. You know what it's like? It's kind of like.
Divine timing. I don't even know what you want to call it. Nah, really.
It's kind of like you was running for the plug, but while you was running for the plug, you was setting up your own plays on the side.
On the side, and it's crazy, and we don't get more in depth about that. But at that point in time, generally speaking, I wasn't even thinking like that. I was just trying to connect with people.
Right.
I was
young.
I was young. I was just not. You think? Remember, at this point in time, I still had no real friends. So I didn't know no girls there. I didn't know no guys there because I'm from Atlanta. Right. So I'm just trying to connect with people. Oh, you're a freshman? What's your major? Oh, like, where are you from? Just trying to connect. So that's what I was just trying to do. Yo, take my social media, let's connect. So anyways, so what happened was I started getting free. And so I started hooping. You know how everyone was at McGonagall or whatever. And that's how I met my first group of friends. That's how I met Rob and them. And I'm like, yo, like I got like a +3. So that's kind of how we started pulling up. And I mean, life just really kind of happened fast. I remember, I never forget, it was like homecoming. And at that point in time, people started to really kind of know us a little bit. Because, you know, similar faces, we was in the BSU meetings, the Smooth meetings, the NOCP. So we was involved. And this is still like, as an individual, at this point in time, I don't even know the Bullet Twins. Right. The Bullet Twins were not even, they were, to my knowledge, like non-existent.
Shout out to the Bullet Twins.
Shout out to them. But at this point in time, it was non-existent. And I remember it was like homecoming. And you know how, again, if you know GTA parties, their lines be right around the block. I remember we pulled up late, and I never forget, Juice and Dave had literally walked in line and like got me.
I love that feeling.
And walked me up, and I felt like
you was somebody.
I thought I was somebody. I remember like everybody was like, "Yo, you get me," because they remember my face.
I love that feeling, bro.
So I was like, "Oh shoot." And I think then, like, I'm him now. And I know I was a freshman, I kind of got big headed. So Juice had all these parties, and now we was some guys now. So it was me, Rob, and my best friend Abdul. It was us three amigos. That was
to my guy
Abdul. Yeah, man.
That guy.
The three amigos at that point in time. So we was going to every party for free. And then from there, we just started to kind of grow. Like, you know, it's being a freshman, you're just around now more, you know, similar faces, people know people. And then I'm trying to remember like how did Primitive come up. So we started to grow. I had a class with a guy named Jules. People might not even remember him, but he was a rapper.
I remember.
You remember Jules?
Yeah.
So we had a class together, and one day in class he started just freestyling.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, like you could really rap. And he like, yeah, I've been rapping for so and so and da da da. And I'm like, oh, word? He goes, yeah, I'm just trying to just build like my brand. He's like, I see you be kind of like in the mix with like this party stuff. And I'm like, nah, not really. I just kind of go to parties. Yeah. He's like, yeah, man, like what you thinking about doing? I'm like, honestly, man, I remember talking to Jules, like, I'm thinking about trying to throw a party, but I don't even know how. He's like, yeah, man, like let's connect. So we kind of connected and we stayed in contact. So Jules one day hit me up with his idea of doing like a artist showcase.
Okay.
So at this point in time, I never forget, like, I started to hear about the Bullet Twins. They were just these, if you don't know who the Bullet Twins are, these two twins, identical. Viral now, like dancing. So again, I live in Johnson and Hardwick. So I can't remember, they live at the edge, but they always used to be in Johnson and Hardwick because we have mutual friends. So they be always just dancing, all this energy. And so Bullet Twins, it's a true story. They came up to me like, oh, yo, I heard you kind of get everyone in for free for parties. I'm like, oh, really? This is what everyone's saying? So I'm like, yeah, I guess a little bit. So we kind of like connected and we got locked in. And then before you know it, they was in our circle. So now it went from me, Rob, Abdul, to now the Bullet Twins. So now the fifth member comes into play. Everyone knows this guy, Gabe.
Right.
Gabe comes into play. Life of the party, energetic Gabe. So Gabe always credit. He was like Gabe was a mastermind. Even though Gabe is smart.
Graphic
design. So he was really like smart. So once he kind of came in the friend group, it was like off rip. He had all these ideas. So I never forget, we was at the edge and we was all just chilling. And Jules at that time lived in the edge. I'm like, yo, Jules, just pull up to the twins room. So Jules put the twins room and he had this idea of a showcase. I'm like, yo, like let's try to do it. So we had booked. I had booked this room in the SAC, whatever. Right. And I remember they asked like, how many people you think about having? I said like 20, 30 people. Yeah. Like, I didn't know no better. And I remember like we did it, and like I said, it's just things how things played out. I went from being the face from everyone knew, so I was collecting everyone's social medias. So we had posted like, yo, Primitive show. No, we didn't have Primitive name wasn't even there.
I remember this.
They wasn't even there. But yeah, we had a showcase, and I never forget. So the building manager from the SAC came because the event started at 7. By 6:30, the whole room, I think it was like 217A. The whole room was filled. Damn. And the building manager was like, yo, y'all have to cancel the event. I'm like, what? And I was like, there has to be some other spaces available. It was like, yeah, downstairs in the theater.
Damn, y'all packed the theater out? So
they moved us downstairs to the theater, and that was our first artist showcase. And we probably had like every Temple freshman in there, and probably a little bit of sophomores.
Once you get that hashtag going, HBTU, TU, whatever your year is up.
The rest was history, and that's how I met Lonnie, who is my best friend now, was at that showcase because he came there just as like a regular attendee. I think I probably met him like a day or two before, and he just brought his camera.
That's crazy how this all. Lonnie took my graduation pictures.
For real, yeah, and that was literally the birth of the group. So Gabe came up with the name Primitive 21. Gabe did it. The rest was history.
I never knew this story. Like, it's so crazy, like hearing the backstory, because I'm experiencing this as a junior, I think. At the time. And y'all just came on campus, and I swear to God, it was instantly y'all had motion. Like,
it happened so fast.
Fast, bro. And I'm like, bro, I think a lot of us was mad because I'm like, we ain't had this much.
It happened so because that showcase happened in November, bro. Yeah. So it was still the first semester. And so what do we always want to do? Throw a party. So I'll never forget. So November happened, Thanksgiving break. So we was just, at any like regular group, we just brainstormed in our group chat. Like, all right, cool, let's do this party. So again, we was broke. So what was the first party you gonna do? A house party.
Right.
Shout out to Diamond. If you know, like Diamond was the epitome of where house parties were. So
if you're not from Philly,
do
not go walking on down the street.
Yeah, facts.
Don't just go on that street.
Facts.
Temple, we make it seem like that's a friendly vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, times are different now. Yeah, definitely be on your P's and Q's. So I never forget G-Day. He was in Smooth, I think. Yep. We used his crib. I think he charges like $150, something like that. Mm-hmm. And it was our first like house party. And I can't even put in words. That party was so crazy. Like a lot of people didn't even get in.
I know, that's crazy.
A lot of people didn't get in. And again, from there, it was like we were stamped. So then that's when Juice and Dave had circled the block.
Okay.
It was like, yo,
Let's
work together. And then from there, we did Upper Echelon with him.
Hold on, don't even name
it. Don't go
get back to those. Yeah. What I was about to say though, bro, is like how this all came together. I think this happens like a lot in like a lot of communities, businesses. Is like there's like gatekeeping.
Yeah.
And I think when y'all came on campus, it was at a time where there needed like this. It was the perfect moment for somebody else to take them into.
Yeah.
People might not have felt like that on campus, but
yeah,
it was definitely needed for a new wave and like a next generation. So
absolutely.
Like, even your name, like Primitive, that's like the start of something new. Like that's like the origin of something.
Exactly.
So, like, I think it was dope how y'all just did that. And I don't want to focus on parties the whole time, but Temple was just like a fun school.
A fun school,
like,
yo.
Y'all really don't understand. Like I always say, like that was probably the best decision I made in my life. So, like,
I have no regrets going to Temple ever. No, like he said,
I'm
no
not gonna
regrets.
lie, like bro, the women, like bro, when I say I don't know if you got a girl or whatever, I mean disrespectfully. I'm just saying any type of woman that you want, you're gonna find it.
She was there. She was there.
Black.
She was there.
Asian.
Yep.
Spanish, whatever you want.
He's not lying.
They bad. They come from different backgrounds. If you like hood chicks, they got them.
Bougie.
You want a little bougie?
They got
those too. They got athletes. They got everything.
Yeah.
The culture of the parties and all that, bro. And I think just the culture of just being in the middle of a city, like it's something like different about.
It was intertwined with the city.
Yeah.
That's what I love so much. And even outside of just events and women and stuff like that, like Temple's a great school to network. Like,
oh my God, bro.
I was a freshman, like, and just to even kind of like take a little bit of a pivot, but I was obviously involved, but I was a part of this. It was a group, it was an org. Shout out to Diamond. People probably don't even know her, but she had a brand called Black Affiliated.
I know what that is.
Yeah, so as a freshman.
Like a media company, right?
Yeah, so as a freshman, like, I was just doing, like I said, the party is just one thing I was doing as a freshman. I was involved in so much just as a freshman. So I was a part of Black Affiliated. And that led me to working at the radio station as a freshman.
Temple Radio.
No, I was on Temple Radio too, but I'm talking about Radio 1, like in the city.
Oh, wow.
And that's when it was just so much things happening so fast. And I'm talking about this is happening in the first semester.
You was active.
I was
bro.
super
when I say active, like you
active.
Was running. I never seen nothing like that before.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes it's like I feel like that's been just my life. Because even now, as I look back, I'm like, I would have felt like I was doing this stuff for like 2-3 years. Like, I'm like, I was doing this only for 5-6 months. And that's how it was my freshman year. I was in December, like,
yeah.
Whoa.
Do you feel like you ever get to really like appreciate the stuff that you're doing because you do so many things?
That's one thing I've been trying to do better job of just really slowing down. I think just being honest. Mm-hmm. I've always just been a busybody, and I think this is kind of how I grew up. And I think it really came from sports. Like, I was a year-round athlete. I was cross country. Like, before football, I was cross country, basketball, and then track. And then it became football, basketball, lacrosse. So I was always doing something. In summertime, I was always working out. Mm-hmm. So I think, like, I kind of had that foundation, mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I just think when I transitioned, I went from an athlete to become a regular student, that mindset was still there of being active.
Yep. I went through the same thing, bro. And, like, having this conversation, it makes me realize, like, how similar we are.
Yeah.
I think it go back to that idea of just understanding, like, getting to know people.
Yeah.
Like, when I was young, bro, like, me and my homies, all of us played sports. Like, that was our passport out of Philly. We had parties too, bro.
Yeah.
In Philly, they used to call them, like, dollar parties.
I heard about them, though. I heard about them. I heard about them.
I had one party, bro, at my homie Najee crib. Shout out to Najee. Shout out to Miss Kimara. But it was my 15th birthday, and she let us have a party in her basement. It's about the size of this.
Right.
Bro, when I say we only was expecting, like, 5, 10 people.
That's how I always be.
When I say our whole hood came,
bro, I always be flooded.
I'm in there, shirt off, wilding. His mom at the back door, collecting the money and all that.
Wilding, man.
Shout out to my moms and the dad, the parents out there that really supported our dreams. But I think being a connector, bro. It goes back to that because I came to Temple as a junior, bro. And by the time I left Temple, bro, I wasn't that involved in a party scene. I knew everybody.
You knew people, yeah.
Just club-wise, I was on student government. I was
involved.
On the keyboard Smooth.
Yeah.
Won the Diamond Award by the time. I won so many things
before
I left. And to come there in 2 years, bro, like, that's just...
It's unheard of. It's unheard of.
Like, I respect it. When I seen that in you, I can respect it because I'm not a stranger to like hard work.
Yeah, man.
And I want to pivot the conversation because we focused a lot on the lit stuff, but honestly, bro, you do a lot of like amazing things. So before we get into who you are outside of that, the party life or whatever, I got some questions that I want to ask.
Go ahead, let's do it.
Like I said earlier, I had some help from some people.
Say no
I
more.
got some this or that questions for you. So the
Say no
first
more.
one is, first I'm gonna give you some options.
Okay.
I'm gonna present two, and you gotta pick between the two. You can't bow out. And
Okay.
you can explain if you want, like why you chose that answer. But I got about like 10 different things.
Say no more. Let's do it.
All right, but the first one
This is
is
gonna be funny.
Atlanta or New York.
Tell me what city?
Yep.
I'm gonna say Atlanta. I'm from here.
Okay, bet.
Yeah.
Tesla or Benz.
Benz.
Why is that?
My first car was a Benz. Second car was a Benz. I always have love for a Benz. It's just
You hear this guy? Yo?
chill. It's just a certain type of like I'm a vibe. Like if you know me for real, I like vibing, and like that's in everything I do. Like my food has to be a vibe. Like so a Benz is like it's just that perfect. It's not like if you ever drive a BM, like it's too much. Like it's just too fast.
You know you get money when you start referring to stuff when it's by acronym. Like the BM.
So like I've driven a lot of cars, like, and when I say driven, not like I've owned them. Like, like just with my parents or friends or whatever. Yeah. I've got to experience a lot of cars, but Mercedes is like very smooth. Mm-hmm. Like just when you drive it, like that real feel to it. And like my stepmom, she has a Tesla, so when I come down here, like I drive her car, and it's cool, but it's not. I don't know. Something about a Mercedes feel. Like for all my Mercedes owners, you know what I'm talking about.
What's your favorite Benz? I love an AMG, bro.
I would probably say. Okay, so in terms of a feel or just aesthetic?
Let's do both.
Aesthetic, I would probably say AMG, but a feel, CLA.
Okay.
CLA.
That's like real presidential.
Yeah, CLA has and it's always gonna be all like personal opinion, but I've driven every type of class for a Benz, and the CLAs is just super, super smooth, man.
Remind the viewers, how old are you, bro?
23.
Crazy.
23.
All right, we got Benz. Temple or St. John's?
Temple. Easy.
Okay.
Easy.
J&H or Temple Towers?
Oh, man. Temple Towers. If you know,
Why
you
you
know.
chose Temple Towers?
Oh, man. That's a legend. Yo. I might give it too much tape. Oh man, nah, Temple. If you know, you know. Shout out to G, shout out to Rob, shout out to James, shout out to a guy named Roman. So long story short, James. So I and Abdul. So I live with Abdul. G and Rob live together. So Temple Towers, you guys know, is like you have 3 rooms.
Right.
So G and Rob had their own room. Me and Abdul had our own room, and then James had his own room with a guy he didn't know. But I mean, Temple. Whew.
I'm going to imagine.
Yo, shout out. Yeah. If you know, you know. Temple Towers.
Alcella or Storm and Loud?
Alcella.
Springfest or Homecoming?
Ooh.
That's hard. If you went to Temple, that's hard.
I think it really depends on the year. It depends on the year because there were some homecomings that were just ridiculous. There were some Springfests that were ridiculous. So I think it depends on the year. So I can't give you a solid answer now.
That's Springfest of my junior year. So that might have
been. What year? 2018?
That might have been. My junior year was 2017.
Okay.
Was y'all there yet?
Yeah, I came in fall 2017.
Okay.
So you talking about the spring of 2017?
Yeah.
So I wasn't there then.
That joint was crazy.
Yeah, I wasn't there then.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
How was it when you got there?
My first Springfest was spring of 18.
Okay.
And that was my freshman year, second semester of my freshman year. That was crazy.
I feel like that was lit too.
I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, this college.
This is college. But one thing you didn't add though, in my personal opinion, if you know, you know, I think the best weekend out of all of them, Welcome Week.
You think so? I ain't gonna lie, bro. I gotta tell you something off camera about that.
Welcome Week for me, Welcome Week as a freshman was ridiculous, and then Welcome Week Welcome Week up until my junior year was, I think, probably one of my best experiences at Temple.
Me too, no lie.
Out of like Welcome Week, and that's one thing I appreciate about Temple. This is another side note, is like I go to St. John's as a grad student, and even when I talk to when I talk to my friends about Temple, they be thinking I'm lying about the experiences I'm having. I'm like, we have a Welcome Week. That's a full week playing by the university, then playing by individual students. We have Homecoming Week. separate playing by the like we had so much
So
to
much,
do.
yo. Like the social life at Temple, bro, it's hard to describe.
It's hard to describe it. Pop up. It's February, but it's 6 degrees, so we just doing a bell tower day, just all the random.
Oh
Like
my God, I forgot
you seeing what? You seeing people you've never seen? You like who that? Like you seeing people you've never seen before?
We got like the bell tower at Temple. You can search this on Google, and it's basically like it's like a meetup spot. Like a big spot.
Yeah.
Everybody come out there. Some people lay out blankets. You might lay
And it's
on
vibe.
It'd be DJs out there.
Water ice, fraternities.
Like, it's a lot.
Yeah, meet the Greeks. It was so much that, you know, yeah, the Smooth Cafe. There was so much that Temple offered. It's like you could find yourself in any type of.
I want to go back to college.
Yeah, like you be having FOMO. Like I have no regrets, man. So yeah.
Links and Drinks or Springfest Block Party?
Links and Drinks.
Why you chose that?
I think Links and Drinks was personally for me as a person who's like playing both and also attended both. Links and Drinks was like I think more of like an actual vibe.
Okay.
And it was funny because Juice and I were going to do Springfest that year, but just at the state of that time, still in 2021, COVID was still literally around and we kind of didn't want to press it. But Links and Drinks was the first time I kind of stepped outside of my comfort zone. That was my first time doing a brunch/day party ever.
That was fire, bro.
My first, yeah, appreciate you. That was my first time, and that honestly too, like in terms of like a party, that was the first time. Honestly, and shout out to HBK. He really like that's really the big bro for real. That was the first time I really got a taste of really being intertwined with the city. Mm-hmm. I think people in the city knew of me at that point in time. But that solidified me as being, because one thing about Temple, like I said, it's very intertwined.
Yeah.
And just, you know, just being in the mix and just being around, like people will start to know about you. I was stamped.
Right.
Like you get to a certain time and shout out to like Vic B, these certain DJs where it's like, you kind of want to have your brand outside of Temple where you want to kind of now become affiliated with more of Philadelphia.
Right, as opposed to just the university.
And I think Links and Drinks for me did that because at the end of the day, Springfest was lit and I love Springfest, but it was a Temple thing. It wasn't a city thing. It was, that's just a Temple thing. Where Links and Drinks was like, nah, that was a city. Like the promoters on that were also from the city. The DJs were from the city. A lot of the attendees was from the city. Yeah. So I would definitely say for me, Links and Drinks.
That's fire.
Yeah.
Red October or Black and Bougie?
I'll give it to Red October. Red October was like that. Easy. I'll give it to Red October.
I
gotta be honest. I can't lie.
Voltage or Cathedral?
Voltage. Hands down.
I ain't gonna lie. I've been to some shows at Voltage that flop, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
I've never been. I think what made Voltage so much fun.
You think every party you went to at Voltage was lit?
Every single party. I never had bad experience at Voltage. But I think the reason behind that is, one, it was like so small where the thing about Temple, the bigger the venues, the more opportunity you get people to be bougie.
Yeah.
Because they have more space. Voltage
about people seeing them dance and all that.
Voltage, you couldn't be bougie because it was too tight. You couldn't just like, oh, I want to be on my phone. Like your phone's
getting be pressed up on you.
And I think Voltage encouraged the culture of dancing and having fun and enjoying yourself. And that's why I said every time, I never ever forget. This might be like top 5 moments. If you know, you know. When the Eagles won Super Bowl 2018, we was
Philly was.
It was lit, and it was like, I don't know, it was on a weekday. I can't remember what day it was on a week.
It was like a Thursday.
So you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
Juice and Davis later go on social media like, yo, we have Voltage. Mind you, it was like, they had posted like 5 o'clock. Yeah. There was like a party night at like 10 or 11. That was a pop, that might have been the craziest party. I probably it might have been top 5 up there. So, but I would definitely say Voltage. It's always had fun. Like Bump and Ground, the first Bump and Ground, if you know, was there. So many memories.
History.
Yeah, it's history. It's a story. Man.
Yeah. Soul Fed or Pretty Girls Cook?
Pretty Girls Cook. If you know. Shout out to Salmon Hash. Pretty Girls Cook.
Shout out to Pretty Girls Cook, man. That's a black-owned restaurant.
Black-owned.
Philly. I love Pretty Girls Cook,
yeah.
Man. Ricardo's or Black Nile Seafood?
Ooh, I know that was a Rob thing.
Shout out to Rob.
Black Nile Seafood.
Gunna or Baby?
Baby, easy.
How you feel about what's going on with Gunna right now?
I mean, listen, I don't know, man. I think it's a little tricky. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the full extent of what kind of happened in terms of how he's getting out, but you know.
Shout out to Gunna.
Shout out to Gunna, though. You know what I'm saying? He's still an Atlanta legend. We're gonna talk about facts. He's still an Atlanta legend, so shout out to Gunna.
All right, man. So now I just want to give you the opportunity, bro, to like let the people know who you really are. I know you touched on your story a little bit, like coming from Atlanta, going to Philly. Now you're a grad student at St. John's. But if you could tell the people like who is Jordan, and like I guess like at the end of this road, like what do you expect? Like what do you work?
Yeah, no, facts. Yeah, so obviously, I'm Jordan. Outside of, you know, and I kind of used Temple one more time as a transition point, but you know, outside of like, you know, the culture and the fun that we had at Temple, it really was my stepping stone. There was a lot of key people and key moments that I had in Philadelphia that kind of transitioned me to get to where I'm at. And so I definitely want to give people their flowers right here on camera, because without them and the situation they put me, I wouldn't be here. So first person is Nathaniel Jones. If you know, you know. That's HBK. Like, that's really my big growth for real. Like, as a young guy, and you know how it is, like, just being young with ambition, you always need that mentor to kind of guide you. And that mentor that guides you but doesn't take advantage of you. And that's a lot of things that I struggled with at Philly, was being so, you know, just being young and not knowing better, and and just taking someone's word for it who was older than me. But I mean, HK showed me so much love, and you know, without him, you know, just, you know, there's a lot of things in my life that kind of wouldn't have happened. So give him his flowers. Another guy, Tim Russ, gave me a lot of opportunities in the city as a person to become professional. Like, when I say professional, in any type of space, like I've met like Alex Hawley, like I met so many business owners, and then from there I was able to pick their brains. So that came from him. At Temple, I'll definitely say Jenny Lee Ramos. If you don't know, that was my advisor for Temple Main Campus Program Board. Okay. And she changed my life.
The Main Campus Program Board,
that changed my life as well.
One of the top student orgs on campus, next to like student government.
Yeah, I get chills really talking about it, because long story short, I got denied twice from that. And I'll talk about that more of who I am. But I remember, like, and I want to say this too for everyone watching, when you're going through times in life where you feel like you're kind of confused of what's next and you want something but you keep being told no, I think it's very easy to settle for the no of, all right, well, I've applied once, or I've applied twice, or I applied 3 times, and maybe it's not meant to be. But I want to say, if it's something that you have, sometimes you have like a fire in you and you're like, nah, I gotta do it. Don't stop. And for me, like, I think a lot of times people saw like the after effect of Alcella and all this stuff, like, Jordan gotta do cool things and blah, blah, blah. I applied for that position twice and got rejected. A lot of people would have kind of just gave up.
What was your position?
Director of University Events. So I planned all of homecoming. Alcella came from me, you know, that whole thing with Tori and all them. So, but I wouldn't have been able to have those experiences if I just gave up.
Right.
And a lot of times people don't know that. Like, I got rejected from that twice. And I didn't take no for an answer. I came back the third time, and on that third time, things aligned. And that Main Campus Program Board, I'll say it's on camera, that changed my life forever. It's the reason why I'm at St. John's doing what I'm doing at St. John's. It's the reason why you know of Jordan as a brand. It's the reason why I've done concerts. It's also been the reason why I've been able to help my people around me.
From the outside looking in, bro, I would say, I feel like that legitimized you.
Yeah.
From looking on the outside looking in,
100%.
I'm involved in TSG. I'm in Smooth, so those are more of like the like formal.
Yeah.
Student orgs on campus. So in a lot of ways, we used to look down on like a lot of stuff. Like we used to like the party elements and stuff like that.
Right.
And when y'all came on campus, that was what y'all was known for. And when you got that position on Main Campus Program Board, I saw like a shift. You became like Jordan, like the young business, young professional, like. It was a big shit. I
learned a lot, like, and like I said, shout out to Jenny, and also I can't be remiss and not say shout out to Philip Smith as well, because those are the top 2 people. But I was raw at that point in time. Like, I learned how to just simple stuff, write a professional email, get a business card, right? Like, attend meetings and be on time. I got my first suit working there. Like, I had an event with Exonerate at 5. So a lot of that stuff changed me and changed my perception. And the biggest thing that I take from the workforce and at St. John's is Temple Maintenance Program Board forced me to work with different people.
Yep. That university in itself, bro, like the diversity of the
Diversity
school.
was, because at Temple, and when you're not involved, you're gonna be around your clique, and it's cool and all. But I think being at Temple Maintenance Program Board, I was around different sexualities, different races, and I kind of had to be educated about that, and I really appreciate that, seriously. And I think for me, like I said, it was just stepping outside my comfort zone. And that's one thing I feel like me and you are good at. It's just like we can see what people are doing left and then go right. And I think I was always able to kind of go right, but still
maintain that connection. And
exactly. And
a
that's
lot
very
of people
important.
don't understand what you just said, bro, because like me coming from Philly, like Philly is it's the hood.
Yeah.
It's the trenches, and like to elevate and to go where I feel like me and you are trying to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you have to understand people of different cultures, different backgrounds. I have conversations with my homies all the time, bro, about like my stuff appealing to people in the hood.
Exactly.
Like, once you get exposed to working with different populations and just getting to know other people, bro, like your mind, you can't ever go back to like thinking the same.
Can't.
Like let's say like the baby for an example, like what he did at the festivals, the HIV AIDS or whatever. Like once you get educated, you will never.
You wouldn't say that.
You
never say that.
Say stuff like that because you know how much of your business it affects. You know how much of your it
your
affects
life.
a lot, and not just your business, but you just care about people. So you understand how your words can have power, like to hurt other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I learned from Temple as a whole. But being in student government and all that, like it really like it changes your perspective, man.
And which is I guess I can't stress it enough. It's very important, especially as Black men, you know what I'm saying? Because it's very easy to kind of be subjected to what's around us. And also, too, as I grow, is like, as you probably know as well, is like, who you hang around with is who you will be in the next 5 years. And I think for me, it was like having that balance, because you don't want to leave your friends, but it comes back to my original point of my goals. Is like, you can't take everyone with you, but it's like, you can't, so you can't be, I tell people all the time, it's a quote, I don't know the direct quote, but if you're in a circle and you're not learning in a positive way from your circle, then you need to reevaluate your circle. And I think for me, like Temple Maintenance Program Board, that was that shift where I wasn't the smartest person in the room. I was actually learning from them. And what I was learning, right, this is very, very important, what I was learning from Maintenance Program Board, I wasn't gatekeeping. What I learned, I told my guys. And to get into your question, like who I am, like when people, I think when it's all said and done, when people really reevaluate my life, no matter how big I get, it's not even about me getting big. I think something about me has always been impact. I always want to have an impact. And I think that my line name is actually the Connect. So when you said the Connector, like my line name, so I'm a part of Cap Outside Fraternity Incorporated. My line name is the Connect. And I know from all of my success, that has been the hidden gem. Is I've always, from my freshman year to now, I've always helped people. I never hesitated. Sometimes it got my feelings hurt, and that's a part of life.
Because you expect people
to reciprocate, and that does not, and I'm telling you, right, that doesn't always happen. I had to learn that you have to do good for yourself, not expecting things to come back in return from a person, right? You gotta understand, and not talking about religion, but Allah or God, like they're gonna give that to you. And I think for me, I was never, and I'm from Atlanta, so if you know anyone from Atlanta, is like we're very big in the city in terms of putting people on. And so I just think like I just kind of had that within me. And I was like, man, if I have $1, I'm the type of person to give you 50 cents just off the strength. If I have opportunity and you say, like if I meet someone tomorrow and they're like, yeah, man, I'm trying to get done with shoot this podcast. I'm like, yo, I got my man DeMonte. Like I was always connecting the dots.
We so similar, bro. Like you saying that, bro. I'm the type of person I might give you the whole $1.
Yeah.
Because I want to see
you win
so bad. And I think, bro, like the commonality between us and what you said that I thought was special when you were describing your experience on Main Campus Program Board was you said you was raw. Like in terms of becoming a professional, it was a lot of things that you had to learn. But the one thing that you had, which is the most important thing that's going to carry you through life, was that your personality and your willingness to connect with other people. You're like a magnet. So wherever you go, you just got this force that like pulls other people in.
Absolutely.
And I noticed, bro, like in my whole life, bro, I've never been the smartest. Bro, I went to 2 colleges before I got to Temple as a
Right.
junior. I never been the best athlete. I never really been the best at like everything that I have done.
Right.
But I've always been one of the best communicators wherever I go.
Yeah.
One of the most well liked.
Yeah.
And the person that just made people come together. I don't know how I did it, but just bro, when I go in rooms, like it just made people.
Yeah.
Those
man.
rooms changed all the time,
Facts.
and that is extremely important, bro. I see it in the workforce, like knowing how to talk, knowing how to facilitate meetings,
Yeah.
knowing how to connect with people with different backgrounds, knowing how to adapt in a lot of different situations.
Understand
Like,
them.
the other stuff, bro, how to send an email, all of that stuff, you can learn that
You can
stuff.
learn, yeah.
What we have, bro, you really
It's intangible.
You can't teach it.
It's
bro.
intangible.
You can't teach it. And
Yeah.
I noticed that, like, going into, like, networking events, like, your line name, what you said, the connector?
The Connect.
My homie called me Network King. Like, Network King, because I always be, like, just out there just getting in the mix, bro. So, like, that resonated with me from your story, and I just wanted to just
Yeah,
point
no,
that
I
out.
appreciate that. I think also too, and just kind of continuing the question is, I'll say the camera is like a model that I live by, and I think it helped me so much is collaboration over competition.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I get kind of teary-eyed about it because I had so many opportunities off the simple fact that I just collaborated, bro. Like, just all right, cool. I'm trying to throw events. All right, cool. The Bull Twins have their own brand. Instead of me trying to compete against the Bull Twins, why don't we come together? Oh, cool. He throws a concert or he does this.
Mm-hmm.
How can we work together
bigger.
and make this big? And I think a lot of times when it comes to just, our community, just us in general as people, sometimes I feel like we kind of get threatened by someone else. So that when we become threatened, now we kind of become defensive where I don't want him or her to take away from me. So I'm gonna try to compete against them, where it's like, we think about it, we're the only race, right, that we can't put our differences aside for the sake of business. You know what I'm saying? And it's like and I ain't trying to go that deep in that route, but when we sometimes sit and think about other races and how they're able to really kind of excel, and we're kind of sitting back like, why
together.
they work together. And the reality is like, I learned is you're not gonna like everybody. But that's okay, because you don't have to.
Right.
It's how can we put our differences aside from the moment and find a common ground and work together and build. And I think that's very important and very critical. And that's really kind of who I am as a person. When you say who is Jordan, like I'm a person who is able to work with others. Yeah. That's very, very important and very, very team player, because it's not about me being the best or me being the worst. Honestly, it's about the effort.
Yep.
And that kind of just came I think it's just part of my, like, just my background, my bloodline being Nigerian. But my dad comes from humble beginnings. He's done well for himself, but it wasn't easy. And even from the outside looking in, like, I do kind of have a good financial life from the outside looking in, but just being real, like, it wasn't always easy.
Right.
I had to take chances on myself. And I think I always had like a dog in me. Like, I really always been a dog, and
I see it.
I've never been scared to take a chance on myself, and I never settle. When I want something, I want that. And I'm not if I want an A, I don't want a B plus. I want an A. I don't want an A minus. I want an A. I'm not gonna stop till I get that A. And I think that obsession, that perseverance has gotten me here, because a lot of times, and it's very easy to kind of get comfortable where I've done this, right? Where it's like, all right, cool. I got to this level, this person's not there yet, so I can cool off. It's like, no, like, I want to exceed, I want more. And I just think that is literally just what's helped me over the course of time, because even at Temple, I done so much good things where I could have just, I think exonerated at 5, I could have been like, all right, cool, but I wanted more. I want to go to grad school.
You could have stopped at just being Jordan, the party promoter.
I wanted,
like, you was so stamped, bro,
Yeah.
with that you could have just carried that. That could have been your reputation to today. Like,
Yeah.
it took you being conscious and being intentional, like we talked about off camera, to become all that you're becoming right now. And I think what was beautiful, bro, about what you said about collaboration was it's just funny that we share that African ancestry. We both West African. I'm Liberian, you Nigerian.
Exactly.
And I think you being from Atlanta too, bro, like everybody always talks about the Southern hospitality. You talk about like putting people on. And I think it goes back to what you said about your New Year's resolution, bro, about self-love, right?
Yeah.
I think people feel threatened and people feel that competition because they don't love themselves enough. They not
It's inner.
assuring themselves. They got low self-esteem, and I see that, bro. And I think that's why people can't reciprocate that.
Yeah.
It's not nothing that you doing wrong. It's just that the way you feel about you, other people don't feel that way about themselves internally. And that's a hard lesson to learn. I'm still learning that, bro.
I'm going to be real too. And this is something I had to deal about with being honest. And I'll say to the camera as well, like, in your chase of greatness, you have to be okay with being misunderstood.
Yep.
And I had to learn that the hard way. You have to be okay with people calling you arrogant when you're just confident, right? I learned when people call me arrogant or cocky, it's not more so what I'm doing, it's how they really feel about themselves, right? I can't change how you feel about you. I can only change how I feel about me. So a lot of times, I tell people, it's like, you really have to be very mindful of kind of what you're taking from other people, because a lot of times people talk out of how they feel about themselves.
Yeah.
And that's very, very important for everyone to realize, because if you're trying to live your life based on what other people feel, then you might end up feeling like them. Because in the day, a lot of people have things they have to deal with, and life is hard. And I live by this as well. It's like, you have to pick your heart. Being broke is hard. Living paycheck to paycheck is hard. Being great is hard. Pick your heart. And I think I've always been able to pick my heart. I knew I wanted right instead of left. I never wanted to settle. And I think, again, that's just transferable into anything in life, not just one thing. And I think that's kind of what led me to here. So now, where I'm in grad school, my master's in computer science, that's hard, right? I'm getting my master's in computer science. I'm a full-time grad student. I work for Red Bull, and I trade stocks. That's a lot, but that's my heart. I want to be great. So it's about talking about it, and then it's about doing it. And here I am. And to kind of get into the stock stuff, stocks have changed my life. I think, it's just funny how things kind of progress, because everything builds off everything. And sometimes it's like you never really realize things in the moment until you get to a certain level. Then you take a step back and like, how did I get here? And so again, like, all my party money that I've ever made, I never touched. Fun fact. It's just all documented. You can ask all my friends. Like, I was a person that in sophomore year, junior year, I wouldn't say bullied, because it wasn't that intense, but I was made fun of for the way I dressed. And when I say made fun of, it was like, I wasn't really into fashion.
I heard that. Bro.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I wasn't into fashion. I wasn't.
You was the true religion king.
Yeah, man. And the thing was, I was comfortable in my own skin. I was okay with being me. That didn't really affect me. And I think a lot of times people would have tried to like change themselves for the acceptance. I didn't really care about being accepted. With me, you know who you're gonna get. So I think like what happened was, and this is gonna be a real conversation right quick, was like, in that time frame, I was getting money. And I say it humbly and respectfully, was I could have went at that point in time and bought whatever was popping in. But I just wasn't really, I didn't care. Generally speaking, at that point in time, I just generally did not care. So all that party money I was getting, I was saving. The same people that kind of used to like, again, it was playful, it wasn't nothing malicious, but them same people that kind of used to kind of like play me, I say like, same people that needed me in the future. And I always think about it as like, dang, like, imagine if I listened to them, I wouldn't be able to be in a position to help. And I think kind of from that point was like, I was saving money. And it's at this point in time, I'm not thinking about I'm not thinking about investing or trading. I'm just getting money and not spending it. So when the pandemic happened, I was the first in my household to get furloughed. So I was furloughed in like February, bro. Like February 2020. I was furloughed. And this is at this point in time, unemployment and the POA and all that other stuff wasn't even a thing. So I was like, shoot, I'm not getting any type of income anymore at this point in time, but I wasn't really panicking because I had money saved up. And I never forget, long story short, the first thing that ever happened was unemployment, regular unemployment. So I was young, so I never even knew what that really was. But my grandmother told me to apply. So I applied to it, and I didn't get it for about 3 or 4 weeks. Thought it wasn't coming. I think I got like a back pay of like $400. Nothing crazy at all. When that back pay happened, though, the next week, my grandma asked me if I heard about the pandemic unemployment assistance, whatever, PUA. And I'm like,
shout out
to Grams. I'm like, nah, what's that? She's like, the government's out here giving out $600 a month. A week, excuse me. I'm like, what? So I'm like, all right, I'll apply. I'll apply, and this is, I'm gonna say probably around like early March. And I went about 4 weeks without getting it. So it was like mid-April. I was downstairs like in our living room just like this, and we were playing a game, and it was like 12 o'clock. Usually when the money used to hit, I got a text. It was like blah blah blah. So money has been deposited in your account. I got this back pay of like $5,000. I'm like, whoa. So at that point in time, all my house just got like unemployed, maybe a week or two. So, but now my money just hit. So now I'm like screaming to the races, like, oh my God. So then from there, I was getting like all this money a week. So from then, like I was just helping out all my house just get unemployment because everyone needed it. And even then, I was making so much money, I was barely spending it. I was making money, saving 80% of it, and that's always been a thing. So kind of what happened was, like I kind of told you on camera, was how I got into options. So I'm an options trader, was the Susu. So my friend came to me.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. 2020, I mean, let's think about 2020. You had Forex. You had a lot of things going on. You had Forex. You had Susus. You had obviously options trading. You had like, what else? Like you had so much going on in that year with money opportunities. Probably things that I'm forgetting about right now, but it was PPP loan, SBA grants. Like it was so much funny business going on where it's like, it's just find your niche. And it was like, all right, so I'm getting all this money. And my friend comes to me like, yo, you can put in $500 to make $3,000. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, if I give you $1,000, can I make $6,000? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, bet, sign me up. Yeah. Boom, send it to him. So at this point in time, like I witnessed my man's like he got it. He got his money. So I'm like, all right, it really works. So I was really, if you know, you know, I was really trying to figure out how this works. So that's the thing about me. Once I'm locked in, I'm locked in. So it's a picture of it. I could find it where literally like I was trying to map out like, all right, cool. Like if I could get this person, that person under him, under her, how many people did I need to find? So I was calling up anyone and everyone. I'm like, yo, my tagline was, if it doesn't work out, I will reimburse you. Because that's what was told to me. So I'm like, it's no risk.
Right.
So everyone's like, all right, it's no risk. I'm getting a little money. I could play with it. So it was working. But what happened was I was doing all the work for everybody. So what happened was it ended up drying up. So when it dried up, people started asking for their money back. The caveat was I didn't take everyone's money. So when it dried up, they were sending their money to people that I did not know.
Right.
But they knew me. So when they went to ask that person for their money back, what happened? That person just kind of radio silence. So they go, Jordan, you told me I get my money back. So these are like my close friends, family. So I can't just be like I can't.
I don't know what to tell you.
I had to pay that fine. So I had to pay back all that money. And I remember I was sick. I was super sick.
How much you had to pay back in total, you think?
$6,000 at a point, and then I had to pay back an additional $5,000. So $11,000 in total over a course of time with that whole situation. Because I had to pay back people over a course of time. And
what were the tensions like around that? Like, was people
understanding? Yes and no. I mean, for the most part, I sent up so much money in one day that I got flagged. So I sent like $5,000 back in one day. I got flagged. And then I had people back home from Atlanta that I was out to everyone, cousins down here that I don't really talk about that I was doing as well. I had to send their money back, but I got flagged. So that became a whole process with Chase and all that. Right. So I had to like, yo, bro, I got it. You just have to wait. But I never been here before, so that process takes a long time. Right. So they had to just simply wait. I generally couldn't even send money. But I mean, they were understanding everyone ended up getting their money back. It was all cool. But at this point in time, I heard about Robinhood and I heard about trading. Didn't know anything about it. So Donald Trump had gave his company Kodak Pharmaceuticals like $750 million. And all on social media, people are like, yeah, I turned $1,000 into 10 grand and all this crazy stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, whoa, what's going on here? So I'm like, what is this going on? They're like, yo, like options trading. So at that point in time, Robinhood was everything. Like that was the epitome of where everyone was going to.
Especially at that time period in the pandemic.
The pandemic, like that was it. So I downloaded Robinhood. And so I remember I put $1,000 in. I started on like a Monday. And by the end of that week, I got $2,400. And I'm like, whoa. So at this point in time, everyone was virtual. So Zoom, that was a company that everyone kind of was using, you know, because classes online, stuff like that.
Graduations, connecting with family.
Everything. So a company reports earnings 4 times in a year. So the Zoom was doing their earnings report. And again, I didn't know anything about this type of stuff, but I pretty much had calls. So what that means is I was betting on the stock to go up. So I had calls, and what I did was I swung through earnings, but I didn't know that what I was doing. That $2,400 on Friday, that Monday was $6,500.
Wow.
I was like, whoa. Like,
More than double.
More than double. It was crazy. And I never forget, like, oh my God. So like at that point in time, I made my money back in like a week and a half.
Right.
So I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So that whole summer, I was going crazy. I was growing my account, not knowing what I was doing. So now I'm like, yo, it's lit. Like, let's do options. So every paycheck I was getting, I was putting back in the market and was flipping it. So it got to a point where I'm like, oh, I'm about to really do this.
About to run it up.
So again, and this is like, this is the story of every trader. I feel like the market, it's like being in the casino. It's like they let you win to a certain extent and then they pull the rug up under you. So I never forget, it's a Friday, I'm going to Pub Web and I had all these openings and positions and someone told me to close them and sell them. But I'm like, nah, I'm gonna be fine. So it was a Friday. So then Monday, I opened up my account, it was down like 1,100. So what happened was in the summertime, when I would be down and lose money, I would like take a nap, play basketball, do something else, come back to my account, and I'll make that money back and then some.
Okay. So
what happened was, that was what I was used to. So I ended up just losing money.
Right.
So Monday I lost 1,100, Tuesday I lost 1,100. So now my account was just dwindling. So I did it for like 2 weeks and my account went back to 1,100. Now people all the time are like, yo, why didn't you just sell? Well, the whole summer for 8-9 weeks, I was making money off just doing nothing.
Right.
So I thought that was gonna happen. So get to a point in time where I lost everything that I made in 9 weeks in 2 weeks. Everything damn near. So I had $1,100 back. So I had $100 more. I started with 1,000. I stopped once it got back to 1,100. So I lost everything to that point. So I'm like, all right, whoa, let me take a step back. So I remember I stopped, I withdrew all the money back to my account. At this point in time, people are making money still. And I'm like, what are they doing? So at this point in time, I only knew about call options.
Right.
I didn't know about what you call put options. That's betting on a stock to go down. So I'm seeing people make money. So I'm putting a little money here and there, still doing call options, thinking they're doing calls, but they're doing puts. So that's where the education for me began. I want to say probably around like October of 2020.
Okay.
That's when the education for me began, but it wasn't an easy journey. Trading options was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I went through every single emotion: fear, anxiety, happiness, joy, greed. Like, it was just a roller coaster, and the roller coaster is the uncertainty. And what I mean by that is, if you go through this journey of options trading, you're gonna go through a certain point where you don't know what you're doing. And it's crazy how the market does. The market teaches you about yourself, and it really teaches you about your relationship with money. And I didn't really know how I felt about money. And what I mean by this, I did not really know, am I a risk taker or not? And for me, I'm moderate. I'm not conservative, but I'm also not aggressive.
Right.
I'm the type of player where I like layups. I like threes. So when it comes to trading, I had to pretty much figure that out. And what happens is, for myself including, a lot of new traders, is you get hooked on the idea of making money, right? Trading is the fastest way to make money legally that I know about. However, the process is the longest process. So people only know the first end, where you can make $1,000 in minutes or in seconds. But the time to get to that point, that's a long time. And so for me, I became so obsessed. Like, it was crazy. Like, I had a girlfriend, or still do, excuse me. But it was just like, she was with me, and she could attest to it. Like, only thing I was doing on dates was trading. I would go to a party, come back, trade. Like, I was so involved and so consumed by it. And I was just like, I told myself, I had an affirmation. This is going into the year 2021. I had an affirmation. I said, I will become a profitable trader. And 2021, that was the roughest year ever. I lost damn near everything, like 3 times. I blew up like 3 accounts. And I was pretty much like down like about $40,000 at that point in time, close to the end of that year, 2021. But I saw what could be, because I would have days where I make 5,000, then the next week I lose all. So I'm like, all right, I know I can make money. How can I now figure out how to keep the money I make and not lose that money that I did make? Right. And so it became just the serious point of education. I was always kind of on the fence about buying a course or buying a mentorship, thinking I could figure it out on myself. I thought that YouTube University would help me. And this is one thing I'll say to the camera is, I'm gonna just be very honest. You have to be very mindful of who you listen to, right? If someone hasn't done it themselves, don't take their advice. I always listen to people telling me, oh, don't pay for education, don't pay for mentorship, don't pay for this, just go on YouTube. Them same people weren't profiting themselves, and them same people weren't taking it serious. So I was listening to them, and what happens was, the longer you try to do it yourself, the more money you'll lose on the back end. Instead of just paying whatever that price point is for that proper education, because it will save you so much. But when it comes to us, especially our culture, we kind of want to be cheap. We want to do the least, but we want to expect the most.
Yeah, my grandma used to always say cheap can become expensive.
Woo! And that was the story of my life. I was trying to be cheap, and I ended up paying tenfold for it. Right. Where I wish I had the money. I wish I just would have just paid for the first mentorship at first. That would have saved me all the extra money that I lost. But I was listening to others that were also undereducated. And so literally once I got serious about really buying education and stopped trying to buy this $10 book or this $15 course, like stop trying to find the cheapest stuff and actually buy stuff with quality, that's when my life changed. And I want to say around probably November 2021 is when the shift happened. Is when I started making strides. And then probably say about February of this year is kind of when I became profitable, and the rest was history. And I went from losing consistently, where I didn't lose for 11, 12 weeks. And that's when the whole following started to come. Right. I remember my account was at 4,000 followers in February. My account was at 4,900. And what it was just people just started following me. And I remember just now starting to become so immersed in the space. I'm so hooked. I'm buying books, courses, mentorships. I'm saving as much money as I can. And I really started to love it. I remember I used to call you when we used to talk on the phone. I was talking on the phone for hours with different people. And I was like, you know what? How can I help people?
And help more than just these one-off conversations. How can I scale this?
And that was the first thing. And it came circling back is how everything kind of works full circle. That's the first thing was parties was, okay, how can I go for free? And then that was step one. How can I go for free? Step two was, how can I do something with my friends? Right. So when it came to trading, it was kind of the same type of scenario was, okay, step one, how can I help people? So what I did was start up just a group chat. So I had a group chat where literally it was all about options. And I was just sharing what I knew for free. And it became to a point where it started off with 3 became 5 became 10 became and to the point we maxed out the group chat. And it was everything options. 32? Yeah, 32, I believe. I can't remember the exact number, but yeah, around that point. And it was a full active text message, iMessage group chat. I'm like, all right, word. And so then I'm like, all right, cool. Let me start just teaching. So I should do Zooms. And at this point in time, I had to free Zoom, but we would go way over 40 minutes. So I started paying for it. So I'm now paying for Zoom, but I'm teaching everyone for free, but I'm doing it because I love it. Right. And that was the first time since concerts was I was doing things because I loved it and not because of money. And I think that's why I struggled so first with trading, because I was trading for the money, not for the love. And when I went back to my success with parties and with concerts, when I took time to really reflect, I was so successful at parties and concerts because I love doing it. I love the feeling of giving people joy when I dropped the artist announcement. I love that feeling. So I was so willing, because that wasn't easy, right? I went through so much of back and forth, artists dropping, budget, all the nonsense that wasn't just make a phone call and boom. But I love doing it. And when it got to teaching, I realized that I love teaching. So as a guy, shout out to Seven, the the guy that I used to follow, he's one of my frat brothers, but I knew of him. I didn't know him personally. And one of my profiles, shout out to Chris Jacks, if he's watching this, like, he was always probably one of the big bros. Him and a guy named Taj was probably one of my big bros in this. Taj is a really trader. Chris more so, like, he was in it, but he just knew people who was part of it.
Right.
And Chris and Seven were best friends that grew up together. And Seven was the guy, I mean, he was making thousands of dollars like every day, and he was trading earnings. And I used to be like, man, I want to just meet this guy. I was like, I want to just meet him. This was this year. This was like, I was saying I want to meet him like February or March of this year. And I remember this thing called Invest Fest that happens in the summer about earning leisure, and that was pretty much
That was out
yeah,
here.
it was Atlanta.
Steve Harvey.
Yeah, Steve Harvey and Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
So again, talking about just being serious about being educated and really want to do this. So I just paid for it. So I bought my ticket to go to Invest Fest, it was like $300, whatever. Then bought my flight, of course, and all that stuff. Obviously, I said here. But I became so serious with trying to submerge myself in this space. And
that's what you gotta do. I tell my homie not to cut you off, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he's a rapper. I tell him, like, bro, like, anything that you want, you gotta become like a mad
you
scientist.
you have it's like you can't half-ass, excuse my language. And that's what I think happens the most. I think people are successful by chance. No, it's not. Because
You gotta learn every little intricacy of
everything
that you're doing, like, and everything that you're part of, and you gotta put countless days, hours, like. And when you was doing that stuff for free, but let's say that conversation that you had with me, in a way, you're helping me, but you helping yourself become more of like an expert in your craft.
Yo,
like,
you just nailed it on the head. That's literally what it was doing. Was like, I'm going on teaching for probably about 11 months now for free, not charging for a dime. Any course that I bought, I was just sending you stuff. Everything I was sending out to people.
I still got the Aristotle PDF.
I pay for everything, and so I was just sitting out because I genuinely wanted just to help, right? I just genuinely wanted to help. And again, just having that, just being genuine, whereas like now it's like I'm about to drop a mentorship. I'll talk about that a little later, but now it's like me saying, hey, come buy this from me. Now it's not far-fetched. I've already built a rapport.
Right.
You already trust me.
You already did the leg work.
And again, that wasn't even at that point in time when I was just helping. That wasn't in the back of my mind. I just wanted to help. But yeah, so fast forward to Atlanta. Like, I'm in here in Atlanta, and Seven, he's a little Hollywood. He's light skinned. He's a little Hollywood. And like, I'm meeting him, and I didn't want to be like that fanboy. Like, yo, bro, I see you on Instagram. Like, my name is Jordan. So I kind of want to be kind of cool. And he was just always busy. So I'm like, all right, cool. The right time, I kind of like just, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So it was like the last day of Invest Fest. Like, obviously I'm from Atlanta, and so if you know me, I like to eat good. So everyone knows, like, yo, if you want to eat good, ask me where we want to eat. So it was like, yeah, we can talk about some spots. So like Chris is like, yo, bro, like we trying to get some food. Like seven, everyone trying to get some food. I'm like, all right, bet. Like, let me know. Like, I'll spin back around. So anyways, we had got some food. We went to go to one spot, it was closed. We didn't go to the second spot, and it was a real intimate spot. And we was kind of like just close at a lounge at Escobar. It's 2 Chainz spot, actually. That's where I took him to. And we were just chopping it up. And we really got to talk, whatever. So we kind of like exchanged numbers. But even from that, it was nothing too crazy. And then I'll probably say like 2 or 3 weeks later. Now at this point in time, we're in August. 2 or 3 weeks later, I made like my biggest trade. I made like $16,000 on Costco. Yeah, and like overnight, I made about 16 grand. I posted it.
I know that could do it.
Yeah. And like he had DM'd me, and we had tapped in, and we had, no lie, we had talked on the phone for about 2 hours, and he just showed me so much love, man. It's so appreciated. He showed me after that phone call, he put me in his Discord. He didn't really know me from Ken and Paint. We met in Atlanta for a little bit, and then we had a phone call. Put him in his Discord, in his community. I could have been psycho. I could have been trying to steal his members. I could have been crazy. Put him in his community, man, and he gave me the opportunity to grow. And from there, like, that's kind of the birth of me now, where...
He saw your value.
Yeah.
Marlo always said this. He said, value brings value to value. Like,
it was crazy.
He saw it in him. He saw how much of a valuable asset you were, and he knew that you needed to be a part of the community.
And from the rest was history. And the community is Prophet Rocket Club. It's in my bio, but from there I was just able just to be so submersive, and I was teaching for free, right? I had class every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, right? Then I had a book club on Sundays at 7. Then I had community watch list at Sundays at 8. Then we had pre-market prep from 8:30 to 9:30. I was doing this I was just so intertwined and in love with it. And what happened was, people would be like, yo, do you have a course?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Of course.
I'm like, of course. I also heard about it, but I'm like, nah, I never really thought about it. They're like, you don't have, because people be like, yo, I want to buy something. I'm like, I don't have anything to buy. And then just after class after class, I was getting these like testimonials, and they're like, oh my goodness. And then what started happening was I had like grown adults DMing me like, you changed my life. I just paid my son's tuition off this.
Wow.
So then I started really seeing impact. They're like, how do you do this? I literally had messages where it's like, I had so many people that weren't in Prophet Rocket Club. There was people in Prophet Rocket Clubs that was telling their friends to join Prophet Rocket Club because of me. That I don't even know what they look like.
Right.
They're just DMing me like, hey, so-and-so told me to join because of you. I had one week where I took a week off, and I had 10 DMs of like, where am I at?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, wow. And it became like an impact. And then what I started doing is a lot of my friends now, because what happens is, you have to do something first. You have to go through it. And then once you become successful, then people want to go out.
People come around and they try to say like, it was always down.
Yeah.
I always believed you, bro.
So what happened was like, right around like September, October was like, I was getting testimonials from like people and I was posting it, but now it's like my inner circle was like, yo, all right, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to tap in.
Real,
like, how much did you say it costs to join your community?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo. So then it was like, all right, cool. And then now I'm at a point where I'm pretty much done my mentorship. So I pretty much just done like the skeleton of that. So my trading mentorship will be coming out January 2023, where we're covering everything from the basics from options trading, from like what brokers to use, what are options, what are not, how to grow a small account, to like all the way to the advanced. It's gonna be about 7 weeks, 13 to 14 lessons. Everything will be recorded, but it's just literally to give people value. It's just like, if you know nothing about options, you will be fully equipped to trade at the end. If you're intermediate, you will get advanced strategy. And if you're advanced, you're still gonna get that type of content where it's gonna help you get to where you need to go. Because it's all about having a solid strategy that's adaptable. It's everything that I've personally done to get me to that point. Every extra resource, every tip and trick that I've pulled from different people, it just all compiled to one thing. So I'm just been very excited. It's been what I've been doing this whole break, and I'm really excited for the world to have it. Yeah, it's gonna be great, man. I'm really guaranteeing the value you guys are gonna get. It's gonna be amazing. So
one question I want to ask you, bro, is like, generally for Black people, we brought up our community a couple times. There's mistrust when it comes to education, healthcare, and most importantly, finances. Of
course.
So why should people trust you, and like, why should people want to be a part of this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Everything I'm teaching is something I've done myself. I'm a person that I believe if you haven't done it, then I shouldn't talk about it. I only really talk about things that I've done, which is events, stocks, stuff like that, because I'm living off experience. And I can relate to every type of trader because I once was there. I was a person that lost for 18 months. I was a person that blew up 4 accounts. I was a person that bought 1 million courses. I know what it feels like to go through the emotions of sadness, joy, happiness, greed, fear. I know all those emotions. So I think I'm able to relate to you. You know what I'm saying? And the second thing is, I'm not here to really sell you anything. I tell people all the time, like, I teach for free. And the only reason now I'm even putting a price tag on it is as I continue to learn and grow, one thing that I do realize, unfortunately, is that people don't take things seriously sometimes unless there's a price tag on it. Yeah. And I think that I've taught so many people. I've seen 2 types of people. I've seen the people that have taken it serious and have actually became profitable. I've seen the people that have not. Can you guess the breakdown of how many people that were successful, how many people weren't?
I would say weren't. It was probably about 90%.
Yeah, and those are people that I've all taught for free because they had no skin in the game, right? They didn't really have to take a chance on themselves, and that's just in life. Like when you have some skin in the game, where if you say, yo, like for example, someone right now, right at the beginning stages of the initial idea, before you had the initial idea of starting out a podcast, if your parents would have gave you a camera just off the rip, you might have really touched it for at first, right? You might have maybe eventually grown into it, but you never really found that love. Right now, you're so submerged in this, where it's like you understand that if your parent right now bought you a camera, you're gonna use it, right? But you bought your own camera, right? Because you had to work for it. It was earned.
So there's a value.
It's a value there. And I think that is where it's like, when I see that the real difference between the people who are successful and people who are not is those people took a chance on themselves. And the reality is, like, you can't do everything for free, and time is money. And I'm here to really help the people who are serious about themselves. I'm at a point now where my kind of work speaks for itself, right? I'm not really here trying to sell you on something. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't, you don't, right? But I can guarantee you that if you're serious about options trading, that this will be beneficial for you. And my proof is in the pudding, because I'm a 6-figure trader now. So it's like, again,
congratulations.
Yeah, man, it's something that I started with from the ground zero, and built my way up. So it's not in the fact that I need your money. You know what I'm saying? I think that is where that disruption comes from, where a lot of times too, like, of course, financial media, especially in our community, has blown up. That's one thing I love about our community, man. We will find something. We will try to maximize it.
Right.
But yes, it is a lot of, fluff out here for sure.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of fluff.
More fluff than
good stuff. And that's why I'm super, super excited about my mentorship, because of the fluff that I've bought. I've spent $500, $1,000 on information that I could have got from YouTube.
Right.
And then the stuff that I bought that were tangible were $2,500 that you couldn't get. So just trying to figure out, okay, how can I piece these little things together and put it all into one? Because honestly, my price point is $297 for a 13 class, 7-week mentorship. In reality, the value is really probably $5,000 or more. Right. But it's more so really trying to help people at first, because just being honest, like, that price point will definitely increase over the period of time, right? But it's more so just trying to help people. My goal is to make at least 5 more profitable traders,
So when they buy this course, can they do it is it self-paced, or is it like a group?
Yeah, so it's a group. And that's one thing too I talk about as well, is like the reason why I stress these days a mentorship rather than a course is a personal preference, but I've done them all: books, course, mentorships, etc. A course is something you buy, right, for someone. So let's say you buy your course from your favorite guru. You buy it, but you're gonna have questions. You're not gonna be able to contact that guru. So the real growth is being able to learn the moment and ask in the moment your question.
Right.
And that's what a mentorship provides. We're going over this content, but when you have questions, you can ask me live. Right, you can actually get in contact with me. So many times I was reading a book, or again, bought a course, I had a question about this certain topic or this strategy, but I can't call you or I can't DM you and literally have a conversation with you.
Right.
That's very pivotal, and that's gonna really kind of prevent your learning process. And my first mentorship, I learned so much in a small amount of time because my questions were answered then.
So my next question, bro, would be for the people like myself, right?
Yeah.
I'm just like you. Like, I'm very self-started, motivated, and I'm trying to build my own business with
Right.
the podcast. So sometimes it can feel like there's not enough hours in a day to dedicate to everything that you want to accomplish.
Of course.
So for those people, like, how does what you're building accommodate that in terms of, like, let's say I go to my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
After work, I'm working on content for my podcast, but I still have an interest. Like, me, myself, I want to get this course. I want to be a part of it, but it's like, how do you even fit it into all of that?
Yeah, it's perfect. So it's a quote that I said. So nobody wins afraid of losing. Chase your dreams, or you end up working for the person who chased theirs. It's very important. I'm gonna say it again. Nobody wins afraid of losing. Chase your dreams, or you end up working for the person who chased theirs.
Wow.
And what I mean that is, everyone's busy, right? And when I say everyone's busy, is everyone has the same 24 hours a day. Elon Musk has every excuse to be busy, to stop. He had every excuse. I'm not sure if you guys know, but he started PayPal. He had every excuse to take the money from PayPal and he'd be done. He had 100 M's.
Wow.
Right? Then he did Tesla. Then he did SpaceX. Then he did Twitter, right? Jay-Z had every excuse to stop after being a rapper.
Right.
We had Rockaware. He has do say. So I say that say is like, it never gets easier. And one thing I always tell people is this, right? I don't have my phone on me, but all right, 9 to 5 is how many hours? 8. You work 5 days a week, that's 40 hours a week, right? So think about it. You work 40 hours a week, so 40 times is 4 weeks, that's 160 hours you're working for someone for a month, right? So do 160 times 12, whatever that number is yearly. You spend all that time trying to make someone else rich, but you second guess giving yourself half the time to make yourself rich. And when I started thinking like that, it became a mindset thing. It's shifting my mindset. So when I tell people, like, really asking questions like that, again, you have to pick your heart, right? You're either gonna have this, oh, I want to do X, Y, Z, but I don't have a time excuse, and just be okay. And that's what I tell people all the time is like, being real, and I do it to myself as well. And I've been better at it, but I tell people, stop lying to yourself. Just be honest with yourself. You have to accept, every person has to come to terms with, I'm going to be basic or not, period.
It's the things that you make time for. It's like, are you going to get off work and get on the game? Or are you going to go to sleep at night and wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym? Like, those are the choices that you have to make. And those are the questions you have to ask.
You have to ask yourself. And I tell people, like, and it's not a thing to shame people either. It's just, you have to just be honest with who you are as a person. Like, as I get older, I realize that some people will just be regular. Right. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's also some people who will be great. And I want to be and work with people who want to be great, right? I'm not in the business now of trying to convince other people anymore, because it's doable, right? We've seen people have done it. Our idols, right? Like, to be all the time, right? It's a question right now. Name 5 black successful millionaires and entertainers or sports. Name them, like, 5 of them.
Brian, Ye. You said it's 5 black millionaires?
Yeah, music or sports and millionaires.
Jay-Z, Steph Curry, I say Issa Rae.
All right, cool. Name 5 white millionaires who are not entertainers or not in sports.
Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Grant Cardone, Warren Buffett, and let's say who's somebody? Rockefeller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, name 5 black millionaires who are not entertainers or not in sports.
What if they own an entertainment company?
No, doesn't count.
You said millionaires?
Millionaires or billionaires? You see?
Damn.
Y'all see this, right?
Damn.
You can't even name one, honestly.
Damn, that's messed up.
That's the point, right? And this wasn't pre-planned, right? This was real.
Yeah.
But it's very important because that's what our culture idolizes, right? Is sports entertainment. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it has to be a mindset shift. Is we can name 5 white CEOs that's not involved in entertainment and sports like that. When it comes to naming our own people, we can't even do it.
Scarce, yeah.
So again, nobody wins afraid of losing. Chase your dreams, or you end up working for the person who chased theirs. Every company, no matter how big or how small, started with one person having one idea. So when it comes to like that extra time to yourself, is you owe it to yourself. Or you really do. You really owe it to yourself. And it doesn't have to be options trading either, right? This is not a thing to sell you on, oh, come buy my mentorship. It's whatever you love doing. Podcasting, start your clothing line, start real estate, start your barbershop. Whatever it is that you guys want to do, you owe it to yourself. There's nothing wrong having a job. I still work, right? It's just me being transparent. I still have a full-time job, but I also have side hustles that I love doing. Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to have multiple streams of income. It's very, very important, right? You have to be able to have a trade, have a skill. At the end of the day, right, job stands for just over broke. Just over broke. So at any point, any time, your job can be yanked. That happened. We've seen it, 2020. So what happens, it happens again. There's no more bailouts. There's no more unemployment, right? Is your life over? So you have to figure out some type of other additional way to bring in money. And trading is there, right? You can make $150 a day off $1,000 and make $3,000 a month, being very small, right? On the minimum side, that can change your life, right? That can just be additional income. So I said to say is like, yeah, everyone works 9 to 5. But what happens after that 9 to 5, right? You still have all this time. So I tell people all the time, it's like, again, you have to just pick your heart, and you have to be honest with yourself, like, where do you want to go and where do you want to be? But everything also, like I said, is not pre-recorded, but it's recorded. So like, we'll meet at 8, but in the event that you guys have work or you're not able to make it, it will be sent to you, right? Where you can watch it on the weekends, you can catch up on the weekends or whatever like that. But it's really more so about that mindset, about just really putting that time into yourself. Even if it's putting in half that time, like I said, we'll work 160 hours a month for someone else, being told a cap, being said, you can't make this much money, right? You always gonna have a cap. Where when you work for yourself, if you even put half of that hours back into yourself, there's no scale, right? There's no, you can't do this much more money on podcasts. Instagram's not gonna be like, oh, well, you make too much money,
right?
Stop. YouTube's not gonna be like, you make too much money, stop. It's about how much more you wanna do, right? So you owe it to yourself.
Man, bro, I think that was like the perfect way to end it, because I want people to just harp on that. Like, I want that to be the end. I don't want to add no fluff over it, no funny business. Like, I want them to really like digest and internalize like the last 20 to 30 minutes of this, because it was real, bro.
Yeah.
It was informative. So I guess my last question to you would be, what is your personal definition of failure?
Failure, not taking a chance on yourself, period. That's it. We all will lose. It's a part of life. Not taking that chance because of the thought of losing is a failure.
Right.
You can't be scared. You can't be scared to take a chance on yourself, period. That is the number one reason why we always have regrets, the I wished I could have, or the what if, because we was too scared to take that one step. We was too scared for the thought of failing, the thought of someone saying I failed. That cripples us. So that's what failure is for me, right? Is just not taking that chance, win or lose, right? We all will win, we all will lose. A loss never lost is a lesson. I know we hear it all the time, but it's real, right? Every single person that's successful, right, has lost way more than they won. The only difference between that successful person and that person that's not successful is that successful person did not stop, period. He or she, they kept going. It's that simple. So that's what failure is. A person is just scared to lose, doesn't take a chance on themselves.
That's amazing, bro. And I want to give you your flowers, like, on camera, bro, and just say, like, this was, like, exceptional, bro. Like,
yeah, man.
I really believe in you, bro. I think you
Appreciate
got, like,
you.
a bright future with, like, everything that you're working on. I could see you, like, just
yeah,
up in the
man.
stars, man.
It's love. And I also, too, want to give you your flowers as well, man. Like, I've been following on the gram, and I've been seeing, like, what you've been doing is dope. Like, I think also as Black men, just, like, because I see you talk a lot about mental health on your platform. And, it's very, very important as men, and also you as women as well, but just for all the men watching this, is like, your mental health is very important. You have to really believe that you're worthy. It's very important, right? Because your belief of your worthiness is going to determine how you excel. And being in your belief with your relationships, right, that you're the prize, right, that you bring value, and not hiding behind your money.
Yep.
That's
what a lot of people do, bro, and I think
very important.
when your mental health is in check, I think it opens the door for the other foundational pieces of your life to come together, whether that's physical health, emotional wellness, financial wellness, spiritual wellness.
Of course.
When your needs are taken care of, when your mind is good and your pockets are full, it opens the door for you to take care of yourself across those other domains. So
that's loud, man.
I appreciate that, bro. And I try to bring people on here like you that's actually like doing the work. Like,
yeah, man.
Really doing the work every day. And like just give people that information. Like it's out here, it's people just like you, like young Black people.
Yeah, man.
That's really getting to it, doing amazing things.
It's a word of opportunity. Like I said, I just end it like I said again. Just find your niche, find your passion, and just don't be scared to lose. Take that chance on yourself. Like you're gonna come across things where you're gonna try something that you like, and try something that you don't like, and that's just life. Like I've done so many things where I figured out that, all right, I don't like it, but at least I tried. I can genuinely say I have no life regrets because everything that I wanted to do, I tried it. Right. Whether or not it worked out or it didn't. I have a million situations that didn't work out, right? Like, even I ended with this, like Rebel, I work for Rebel, and I love working for Rebel, but it's like main careers program board. I got denied from Rebel 6 times. 6 times I got denied. I applied 6 other times before I got my 7th yes. So on the 7th time, I got my first yes. At any given point, I could have settled for a regular job.
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted this. So I'll just say, just like, whatever you guys want, go after it, man. Like, go after it. Do not take no for an answer. Don't take no for an answer, so.
Fell forward, y'all.
Falling forward.
How can people keep up with you, bro?
Yeah, you can follow me on my social media at Jordan Saibu. It's literally my first last name all together. Jordan with an A, so JordanSaibu. On Twitter, it's JSaibu. Those are, my main accounts. I'm not really on TikTok, so it's really just Instagram and Twitter. But like you guys are interested in my mentorship, follow my page. It's coming out. I guarantee you guys, like, this will be something you guys should be definitely interested in if you're looking to make some passive income. Everything is very tangible. It's no fluff. It's no BS. It's no what could be. It's what will be. What is. So give me a follow, and appreciate you, man.
I appreciate
this is
bro.
gonna be fire, man. It's love.
Shout
man.
out to Temple, man.
Shout out to Temple, man.
Shout out to Temple University
man.
in Philly. Make sure y'all follow me on all the social medias, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. My information and Jordan's information will be listed in the description, so y'all can look at the course, y'all can follow him. And just keep staying tuned for more content, y'all, coming into the new year. I hope y'all all had a Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. And a Happy New Year, and I'll see y'all soon.
Peace. Love and love.
Investing all our dollars and hoping that freedom reigns. It's hard being us, but the talents cover the pain. Make it to the lead, but we still don't own the game. Way too many souls are tainted behind the fame. The parties in private mansions, they exchange some drinks. Corrupt the things you think. Your life change in a blanket, and nothing seems the same. All these curses, your value to your spouse is measured by some purses. Preach religion to our youth and make them think it's working. Really, it's our people who was dying for our purpose. Our great greats of our grandmothers and mothers. I remember when siblings were in dozens. Nowadays, these niggas will aim at their cousins. He don't notice he taking the brain from a dozen more children in the hood who ain't never had nothing. My brothers keep us